distributive property with rational expression. And I'm going to write this down. I'm going to actually go do a harder one first, I think. Write this down. B cubed. This, by the way, this is one of those things where you take this home and your parents see you doing your homework, they're going to go, I have absolutely no idea what you're doing, and that looks so incredibly complicated while you're doing it. But he might. Okay. B cubed over d to the negative third power times 2b squared over d minus f to the negative 3d over b. Is that right? I don't know why they would give us a, sorry, that should be a b. I knew that was right. This is a b. Okay. A lot of times it helps in math when it looks like something is complicated. Does that not look tough there? Say high. Okay. A lot of times in math it's easier to think about what you need to do when you think of an easy problem. Well, if I had a problem like this that just said 2 times x minus 3, because that's all this is, a number, rational as it would be, times a parenthesis, boom, 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 how would I simplify this? How do you solve this? Distributive property, you just take this times both of those things. That is the exact same thing that you're going to do here. You are going to take this and multiply it by both of these and get your answer. Now, what happened to the b?
You erased it.
Okay, now what, because, and again, some of you will be able to skip over this, you know, they'll be like, it's not a big deal for you because you know what's going on. But I'm going to tell you the long method because I think it's easier to understand that way for those people that are easily confused about such things. Okay, so here's what the first thing I want you to do. Before you do the distributive property, the first thing I want you to do is to write everything in the numerator. In other words, make them not fractions anymore. As much as possible. If it was a number, you wouldn't do it, but all these letters. In other words, everything on the bottom, I'm going to move up to the top. Okay, so it's just going to look like this. This is going to switch to become b cubed d cubed. Are you with me? Just because this d, when it moves up to the top, the exponent changes its sign. Okay, my parenthesis here, I get 2b squared. What does this become if you move it to the top?
Negative.
B to the negative 1. And then this one minus f to the negative 3b times b to the negative 1. If I wrote that down, okay, I should probably check to make sure. Yeah, this should be a d. Can I change this to a d? Sorry. Don't worry. We can. Is that off? Okay, and then right off the bat, to me this just looks better. It looks easier to me now. Whether it is or not doesn't matter. And then step number 2. Let's have an iron calibrate this again. Step number 2, then you can multiply the old distributive property. And then obviously the third step is you're going to have to simplify, which means make those things positive again. So here we go. If I multiply this times this, I get 2 for the number. What do I get for the b's? B to the 5th power. 3 b's times 2 b's is 5 b's. 3 times b times b times b times b times b is b to the 5th.
Oh, I have to be the third.
D cubed times d to the negative 1 is d squared. Then I have to take this and multiply it by this second thing over here, minus, do I have any b's over there? Sure. B to the 3rd times b to the negative 1st is d squared. D cubed times d is d to the 4th, and then I have this f to the negative 3 here. Oops, there's no parentheses there. Now that's almost right, except one small little problem there, Jackson, is, yeah, in the end, you're gonna have to, anything that has a negative exponent will need to be brought back to the bottom. 2b to the 5th d squared minus b squared d to the 4th over f cubed. And this is as simplified as you're going to get. Up. This is a fraction, this is a fraction. The way to subtract fractions, like in anything, is to have their common denominators. So there's really nothing you can do with that. Now, for those of you that are super mathematical, in reality, this doesn't have to be done. You can go right to multiplying a fraction times a fraction and a fraction times a fraction. But then there's a whole messy thing about moving stuff to the, eventually you gotta do the moving the stuff anyway, so I just found it's easier if it looks like this and you end up with that. Some of you will say, can I do it this way? And I'll say, by all means, if what you're doing is right. How's that? Isn't that exciting? Alright, let's find a hard one, because I can tell you're ready for the best. Shall I let you try one? Yes. It's because it's not, it's again, not hard, just confusing. And if you're not an organized sort of person and don't write too terribly neat, you are going to find yourself in somewhat a world of hurt. It does look exciting, though, doesn't it? Follow the steps.
I'm trying to see because I can't tell what the bottom's in the bottom. The W's version.
Those are
Is
doubles.
that 5 plus z or?
That's 5tz.
T, Z.
There's no F. Where's an F?
No, no, it's in practice, isn't that?
That's like that. Yeah, if you don't read my writing, you can actually look it up on in the book. Letra F. All about neatness and accuracy at this point. At least do the steps for me. You've already do the top. Done? try to. Again, my way to do this would be to bring everything to the top so you get zxw squared times, that's gonna mess me up. I'm gonna try that all over again. zxw squared times in parentheses z b negative 2xw negative 1 plus this one already is 5tz minus 2w4. If you don't get that, you'll leave yourself in a little hole. Now combining first terms, z times z is z squared. X times x, x squared. W2, w minus 1, w, and d to the negative second. That's the first term you get. Multiplying this times the second one, you get a 5. There's no t's over there. You have a z squared. And don't forget you still have to tack on the xw squared. Yeah? Yeah. Minus, is that a 2? There's a w4 and a w squared is w6. And then you've got the z of the x. And that's all well and good. You just need to change one thing the way it looks. Bring the d to the bottom. Z squared, x squared, w d squared plus 5d z squared x w squared. The book would probably put these in alphabetical order, by the way. And I think that's it. Looks a lot harder than it really is. But if you get lost halfway through problems, yeah, you have to be able to focus on a problem for more than 30 seconds.